it's not just a slogan, true parents are one. My topic is basically that true mother and true father have had a glorious partnership over the past 50 plus years, where they have worked side by side, hand in hand, to bring the providence to the conclusion that it has reached now, to the state to conclude the basic foundation that was.
Hang on, I'll be right back.
Yep. All right. Pause.
I'm cooking, and I'll be right back.
Yeah. Yeah, we don't want to burn dinner, you know. It's important to deal with Wilson, but doesn't take priority. But a burnt dinner ain't worth that sacrifice. Just isn't. Come on, let's get real. You know, especially when it's on YouTube and we can pause it. Men got to have their priorities straight. You know, we can put him on pause and we can deal with this, but when it comes to, and you want to know what? It's real meat that we're cooking. Real protein, dead flesh. Yeah, we got to get our priorities right. We got to get this cooked right so it tastes good. All right? Hurry up, Jamal.
All right.
I don't know if he's going to keep this in the edit or not, but we'll see.
All right. All right, I'm back. Okay. All right.
All right, stop. He was going over, yeah, he just made this statement, basically, that father and mother worked in a partnership for 50 years.
Mm-hmm.
They accomplished many things.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think you'll find Hyunjanim, anyone I know at Sanctuary, or myself, or Jamal denying that.
Mm-hmm.
Which gets me to this very simple, basic point in question. Yes, they did all this, and they did 3 coronation ceremonies, where 3 times explicitly the mantle, the responsibility, the power and authority completely as the very body, and that is the actual word and Chinese character used
Teishinja.
of true parents is conveyed and placed with Hyunjanim and his wife. So let me just conclude, and I know Andrew can't answer this, but a very straightforward question. Okay, Andrew, you're laying out a premise. I actually accept it. They did and accomplished all these things. That is almost nearly the climax and pinnacle of what they did together. How come everybody's ignoring the heir?
Look, what Robert just said is just raw principle. The purpose of creation is so that God can share himself with a partner.
Yep.
And by sharing himself, him being a parent, he shares his parenthood. So this means that all the intention goes into God, his mirror image, which is true parents, having children together. So if there's no child who can stand as the fruit, then parents are a failure. Okay, God's endeavor to have a partner who he could share parenthood with is a failure. So how many of true parents' children got shot down by Satan? Okay? You have to be rushing to the ultimate conclusion that true parents are ultimate failure to think that the final son is also a failure. Okay? All right. The guy was crowned 3 times. The guy went along with heresy between September 2012 and February of 2013 because everybody's going to say, you've got to set the condition of supporting mother because that's what you... Okay, and he does that until he cannot do it anymore. I mean, I don't know how much of the cosmos you intend to hand over to Satan as a love offering, but he'll take it all, and he won't give you back anything. And apparently, There was no negotiating. He was totally pushed out. He's a triple crowned heir, totally pushed out by treacherous people. And if you truly know the principle and know that there must be a true child, okay, that must stand as the fruit of the true parents, in order for the true parents to be one with God in victory. In other words, the crowning achievement of parents is the child.
Bingo.
So, so you're just gonna throw the last one in the garbage just like that because Andrew Wilson is stuck in some kind of feminist spirit world?
Let's go. Let Andrew speak and condemn himself here.
Included at Foundation Day so that we stand on that foundation together with them. And so mother is not just there being pulled along by father. She is an active partner in the work that they have been doing. So in that regard, I identified 5 points of father's mission. Complete Jesus' unfinished work, complete restoration through indemnity and subjugate Satan, the salvation of humankind through the blessing, the foundation for God's kingdom of Chun Il Guk, and liberate God. Now, there may be other missions of
really
True Father that I left out. And some of you can think of some of the missions that have yet to be accomplished, like the unification.
First off, True Father's mission. I didn't realize it, but earlier in the day I saw this. I didn't know who the author was. Yeah, Father's mission, complete Jesus' unfinished work. Yeah, that's the work of the Lord in the second advent. He's actually being very intellectually dishonest in his presentation because he verbally said, this is for mother. But look at this. He says True Father's mission.
Mm-hmm.
So if you read this, he's actually, from principle and history and everything, correct here. But what he's doing is a sleight of hand, like an illusionist and a magician. See, this is what it is, but then he's showing you something different in the fact that you're going to equate what he's saying equals this. It doesn't. This is not mother's mission that's written here, but he's talking about mother's mission. Father and mother's missions are not the same. Listen, men don't have children. And you want to know what? Every time I get down...
You mean we're not the one who becomes pregnant?
We don't bear children.
Pregnant, yeah.
And in all humility in that, women are amazing that they can do that. And that's to their credit. But men and women are fundamentally different, physically, spiritually, and also in the roles and responsibilities they are tasked to accomplish.
It wasn't 2 trees of life in the garden. It was
No.
2 different trees, right?
And each tree bears its own fruit, which that means is the tree of life is one fruit, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil is another fruit. What fruit it would be was in question. That's why, I wonder sometimes if the translation wouldn't be more accurate if it was the tree of knowledge or of good or evil. But anyway, that's another discussion, another time. The point being is they are different trees with different fruits and different purposes. Even a 4-year-old child knows the difference between father and mother.
One of them, the first mistake that feminists make is setting up the model of a man as their model, as a woman.
That's what he's doing right here.
That is the first mistake, because you're going to wind up with a have-nots mentality. Because if you're going to look at masculinity in terms of, let's say it's like money. Masculinity is money. Well, then men will always be rich, and you're always going to be poor. So it's just so. You're going to have some kind of a sexual or gender communism. You're going to say, take from the rich and give to the poor. In other words, you're going to be telling men to be less masculine and accept women being more masculine. It's insanity. And I don't want to go on it. You can rewind that and think about it.
But at any rate, he's already doing this without even taking a breath or pause, but he's actually being artistically and intellectually very dishonest, because he's speaking of mother, yet he's putting up stuff that's factually true about father, but he's speaking without a deal saying they're one and the same. No, they're not.
No, they're not.
And this is what I'm saying. His foundational premise right here is off. And this is the thing. If your foundation isn't good, I don't care how good your logic or stuff that follows from it, you're off base. He's off base already, and we're not even 2 minutes into this.
Look, when you're listening to somebody, you know, sometimes their premise is everything. You swallow it, and boom, you're deceived for the
Yep.
rest of the whole thing. So I'm clearly rejecting his premise. He's listing what Father's mission is. I think that this is overly expressed because really 3 and 4 is it, okay? 1, 2, and 5 are all wrapped into 3. So number 3
Yeah.
is salvation of humankind. That will liberate God. That finishes Jesus' work. And what's number 2? Restoration through indemnity, subjugate Satan. All of that is assumed in number 3. Okay,
Correct.
so it's really 2 things. Adam had one thing to do. It would have been number 4. Okay, and so actually, who's supposed to do number 3? John the Baptist. So actually,
Yep.
true Father is not even supposed. You told me that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
you
true.
clarified that a few weeks ago. You know,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
you know, it's actually John the Baptist. It's our responsibility to separate from Satan. Father should have never made a church.
Yep.
He should have came on a foundation that was ready to get rid of Satan. Okay, people who are at the top of the growth stage, ready to get rid of Satan. Okay, and so yeah, let's just keep it simple. That's just an added thing that the Adam figure has to do, is to look at these people who are struggling around the top of the growth stage, trying to help them. So he's being actually John the Baptist. And I think Father proclaimed true parents in 1992. So all that whole church history is indemnity. It's really Adam doing things that is not his responsibility.
Exactly. And let me just real quick, very succinctly, the Messiah's purpose is not to pay indemnity from God's point of view. The Messiah's purpose is to come and kill Satan's lineage, and he does that through the blessing. The course and restoration of indemnity and overcoming sin, which mankind can do, all but the original sin, is actually the role of John the Baptist and religion, historically. Father picked that up because mankind failed its responsibility, just like John turned from Jesus. Okay, but let's be clear what Father's real mission from God's point of view is. It's not the unification church. It's not religion. It's not an organization.
Yeah, hierarchy.
It is this killing and destroying Satan's lineage by establishing God's lineage on earth. That's it.
True that.
All right, and we can go on. Wish Andrew knew that.
North and South Korea and this and that and the other thing, but you know, I mean, considering all the things that God put on Father to do, he accomplished during his lifetime an incredible...
Stop. The statement, everything that God put on Father to do. Bullshit. You don't understand restoration, you damn fool. The people that dumped that shit on Father was not God. It was the failures of us, our ancestors, Christianity, and religion. Let's get real here. It ain't God that dumped on Father. It was fallen mankind and Satan. And he right now is doing the same bullshit.